This is the Globalsat GPS sensor that we've been using in Woodstock, and it's been mounted inside the waterproof box that contains the autopilot hardware. And because that box was above deck and had a transparent lid, plastic lid, there was no problem with that. But now that we've put the autopilot below deck and we've put on top of the deck a whole load of solar panels, I realised that I got to put the sensor outside separately from the autopilot box. So I was having a look at this sensor just to see how waterproof it was, and in fact there is inside here a square rubber gasket which makes the electronics pretty waterproof. However, this flexible rubber grommet thing is not moulded on to this cable, so water could get in through this route and could then migrate around the place, causing problems. So I realised that this was not really as waterproof as it needs to be if it's going to be sitting on the deck and constantly being washed by the sea. Ignore the two blobs of blue tack on there. So I made this PVC container out of this bar of PVC. It's 80 millimeters in diameter on the lathe. Had to use a steady rest, which is what made this groove there. So we've kind of put the thing in there and then encapsulated it. So I put it in there and it's completely buried in this somewhat flexible potting gel. The gel I've used is called MP Gel Plus, which is made by Whisker for pouring into electrical connector boxes, and I thought it would probably be okay. I made a slight mistake with the mixing of this because it says mix 1:1 by weight, and I assumed that they were the same density, so I mixed it 1:1 by volume. In fact, the blue component is slightly lighter, less dense than the other one, and so I didn't have enough blue in the thing, and that may explain why it hasn't set particularly hard, but I just hope it's going to be okay. In any case, there's not much I can do about it now. So to make sure that the GPS unit still works whilst after it's been encapsulated in this gel, I've been testing it in my study connected to my desktop PC, and I've also been testing the effect of turning the power off and then turning it on again to see how quickly the GPS is able to take a reading after the power has been off for a certain length of time. So this is the log of the tests. The response from the GPS unit is called GPRMC, and it has a V letter here if the data is not yet valid and an A if it is valid. So after power on here, we got one invalid reading, and then we got valid readings. So that's okay, but I've left it off for a much longer period now, and I'm going to run. So that's invalid, and we'll let it go on until it becomes valid. Right, it's become valid there. Right, well, here's another log of a test that I've just done where I turned the GPS off at 12:35 and turned it on again at 14:10, so that's what, an hour and a half. It's been off for an hour and a half, and it comes on at 14:10, and it becomes valid at 14:10:56, so it's 56 seconds later. And this is with the GPS in my house, which is rather a poor place for GPS reception. So I think we can kind of assume that most of the time we will get a valid answer at least within a minute of powering up the GPS.